So I want to talk about the trans issue question briefly. So there's this up until Bruce Jenner transitioned into Caitlyn Jenner, it was more or less accepted that there were, as Bill Maher puts it, the default setting is male and female, and that if someone was designed a male, whether you believe in intelligent design, the Stephen Meyer intelligent design theory, i.e., God made man, or you believe in like a Darwinian evolution kind of thing, and nature designed male and female, designed human beings, we can objectively say that the default setting is male and female, biologically speaking, just like every other creature on Earth, male, female. Now, it's acceptable and understandable to say, well, human beings are different. We're better, we're smarter, we're more complex, we're unique. Absolutely agree. I think Christians and non-Christians alike would agree with that. So the notion that we think differently, we have different experiences, we have free will, we rely less on our instincts. We have the option to not rely on our instincts and to overcome our instincts to behave in a different way. Valid. But the truth remains that we, as human beings, do identify or do have that default setting. And up until about 2015, when Caitlyn came out, that was kind of the moment where where the transgender movement really started. She was the catalyst for what has become the transgender movement. Up until that point, if someone were to say, I'm born a male, but I think I'm a female in a male's body, we would see that as a problem. And how would we address that problem? With care and love and consideration, either through counseling, through and then if all else fails, then through transitioning surgically to appear as the opposite gender, so you feel more comfortable. And notice what I say: appear. A woman will never be able to become a male, and vice versa. A phalloplasty is not the same thing as a penis. It's just not the same thing. Does it function the same? Does it look the same? I've seen plenty of trans people who when you see them up close and personal, would never be able to tell that this person is one gender or the other. I've seen trans men who just look like men, trans women who look like women, and you couldn't tell. Most you can tell. Most you look at, oh, that's a trans person, right? But at the end of the day, even these, trans people who, like I said, you can't tell either way, once they take the clothes off, you'll notice there's just different parts, right? Even, the human beings don't have the medical ability yet to truly create, what nature or God can create. We're not there yet. Maybe one day we'll get there, but right now we can't. And so you can appear as the opposite gender, but you will never be that. Just never will. But now we no longer see it as a problem that needs to be solved and say, hey, why is this? Why do you think or feel that you're a different gender? Let's address this problem and try to maybe help you to be happy the way that you were created, the way that you were made, the way that you were born, happy to feel confident in the skin that you're in, right? I mean, that would be the optimal, right? That would be best for everybody, is for everyone to be comfortable the way they were made and not have to go through surgical treatments or synthetic hormones and HRT and all these other things. I mean, that's wouldn't it be just healthier to just be happy with the way you were made? And a trans proponent of the trans ideology would say, well, yeah, that's what we want. That's why, you know, they were made this way. They were made a woman, and they were made trans, and so it's and so rather than seeing it as a problem, they say, well, it's natural. It's part of their nature, and so to help them to be happy is to encourage this, to make them feel safe, to make them feel good, being the wrong gender in the wrong body or whatever. When having this the gender that's opposite of your the way you're built, sexually speaking, right? Where I would say maybe we need to go back to where say, okay, well, how do we help you? So you're trying to take something that's not malleable, being your physical body, and change it so that it's in step with your malleable emotional state. Your emotions, your feelings, your thoughts, they can change. They do change. The way I think and feel now is very different than where I felt when I was 8 years old. And so we're saying that the way you think and feel, like from birth, because they're saying, there's the arguments that children are just born this way, that's fixed and that will never change. So let's change your body, like it's like you're made of, like you're assembled by Legos, and you can just, and change your body around. It doesn't, and when it's actually the opposite that's true. Your body is fixed. You can't really change that. But your spirit, who you are, how you think and how you feel, that can change, and that will change. You can change that. So maybe, just maybe, here's a thought. Let's address it that way of, before we go to the extreme measures of surgery and hormone replacement and gender and puberty blockers and all these things that have irreversible effects. How about we just address the person inside, and see, how can we help this person be happy, be content, feel loved, just being the way they were created, the way they were made, the way they were designed. All right, these are my thoughts. Y'all have a great day.